What it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back. Back with you with another new chapter of Deku the Summoner. And honestly, I'm sorry that it's been a while since I last uploaded a chapter for this, guys. It's not that, well, I was stalling, to be honest, or anything like that. It's mainly because I, had some other priorities to worry about, to be fair. So, yeah. But now, at least I have a chance to basically unleash another new chapter for this story. So, at any rate, with all that said, let's go to have the necessary recap. As soon as many of the pro heroes of Japan arrive into that of the world on the kingdom of Asker, they didn't have that of a well-received welcome. They were ready to fight, but however, it seems like not a lot of the heroes respect that of these heroes from Japan. It also doesn't help that Izuku, a boy who was basically considered missing for the past 10 months, basically is here, alive, on a different country after all, and seems quite aggressive towards heroes, even though he used to be a hero fanboy. But it seems that fanboy is gone and even has quite a bit of surprises. Not to mention, what also sets a bit of the pros on guard is the fact that a lot of these so-called heroes are around the age of around that of their early to late teens, early adulthood, and everything else, making them even more a little bit worried and shocked about where they're at, until they begin to understand that the Order of Heroes is more than just a name or an organization from a backwater country, but it actually spans an entire multiverse. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 2, Deku's Journey. Currently in that of the main meeting hall of the Order of Heroes, Izuku begins to explain how a 15-year-old boy became that of the second in command of the Order of Heroes, while also explaining the lore of that of the Kingdom of Asker. As before he could speak, that's when All Might saying, "Young Midoriya, I have to ask, and I can't put this off. How did you come to this so-called other world, you say? It was 10 months ago that I remember meeting you." Within, Izuku having a look of pure and utter indifference. However, if you look closely, his left hand is shaking. He's clenching his fist so tightly to the point that you could already believe that he may already be drawing blood from his skin, saying, "To you, it's been 10 months, but in this world, I've been here with the Order of Heroes for 5 years. With that, everybody was caught off guard except that of those of the Order of Heroes." With then saying, "I won't go into details on how I got here. Let's just say that I was summoned by Anna, using the ancient artifact that I now wield myself." As he shows that of the brighter blick, with Hawks going, "The gun?" saying, "Yes, it is basically an ancient artifact gun. It allows to use magic. However, it also has other features. Basically, the ability to summon entities from other worlds. Almost half of everyone here in the Order of Heroes come from basically into alternate realities, alternate worlds different from each other, but similar in one way or another that connect them with," as Izuku saying, that one thing that connects them is known as the Fire Emblem. It goes by many names in their worlds, but the name Fire Emblem always comes up, no matter what its original name is known as, or the other name is. With then Ryukyu going, "And you're able to bring these people here?" saying, "Yes, I am." With saying, "And as I was about to go into details before I was told and asked on how I got here," I was actually about to go into it, to be honest. With saying, as Izuku takes a deep breath, letting go of his palm, the palm of his hand, as he could see that of the blood already starting to, spring forth from his, pierced skin, from his nails, saying, for you, it was 10 months ago, right? Around that of the beginning of April of the new year. On that day, I was basically, some things happened to me, things that could have broken me if I wasn't trying to stay more positive, until basically attacked by a villain made out of sludge, until All Might saved me, with everybody looking at All Might, even Mirio, however, just as always, anybody here would always basically fanboy over All Might because, again, he's Japan's #1 hero, right? Everybody loves him, and everybody believes whatever he says is right? Then, All Might begins to realize what he's about to say, saying, "Young Midoriya, are you?" Let's just say, after that, something bad happened to me. Something that I almost felt like I could never basically recover from, until Anna brought me into this world, like I said, using the brighter blick. Within, Anna saying, "Yep," and just like that, the rest is history. Within, Izuku basically looking at that of the redhead commander, saying, Anna, saying, right, go ahead. Before then, Izuku saying, "On that day, I was brought into that of the kingdom of Asker, nearing the ruins where the brighter blick laid. Originally, it was a relic that barely anybody could use. Surprisingly, Anna was able to use it for only once before it chose me to be its new wielder. I didn't know on how to use the brighter blick at first. Hell, using a gun, to be honest, for a 14-year-old just seemed crazy, right? Well, not entirely, unfortunately. It can use that of magical attacks that have so much power that it almost feels like I'm using a quirk, but far from it. But its main function is, like I said, is to summon people from other worlds to fight for my sake. And at first, it was crazy. I didn't believe it, and I thought I was just dreaming. But instead, it was all real. Every last person here, every last person that I brought into this world, every person I shot from that of this weapon is from a different world. And not just a different world, but also different timelines, different realities, basically alternative universes where things went differently for them. With that, everybody is shocked. Within, Vanessa spoke up saying, "He's right." Within saying, like they say, I was originally the crown princess of the kingdom of Emblem, one of the neighbors of that of the kingdom of Asker. However, I gave up my throne in my world to join the Order of Heroes, to make amends for the crimes of my family and of my father as well, who wanted to basically, take over Asker. I felt like it was my duty to rebuild the bridges that happened. Within, Ligyorn spoke up saying, "She isn't the only one. The original Ligyorn of this reality, of this world, died. I am a Ligyorn from an alternate reality that survived and ended up becoming loyal to that of the Order of Heroes, alongside that of our neighboring country, royal family as well. The Brighter Blick is basically one of the most ancient and also one of the most mysterious weapons throughout the entirety of this world. To find out that it doesn't just bring people from other worlds, with Gothra saying in a serious tone, it can transcend the very multiverse itself, bringing people from alternate realities into this one. With Endeavor saying, "This is absurd." Within, Izuku saying, "You would think that. However, Endeavor, what if I told you that there is a version of you that became a villain, actually?" Within, hearing that, Endeavor saying, "Preposterous! You would, and if things changed for you. No one knows on who you truly are outside your last name, right, Todoroki? What made you want to be a hero, number 2? Why did you strive to be a hero to begin with? Was it for fame? Was it for fortune? Was it for power? What was your reasoning to want to be a hero so badly? As this became quite personal for that of Enji Todoroki, and as the number 2 hero, Endeavor, remembers back then the reason why he wanted to be a hero so much. Remembering his father's death. Remember how he basically went inside of a burning building to save a little girl, but ended up dying alongside her. To not want to be a hero that would save everybody, that would do whatever it takes to protect anyone, so innocent civilians on the sidelines won't have to risk their lives for nothing. To be the hero that's always there to save others. However, within remembering how much he basically pushed past that memory, that dream of his, so much, all because of one man. Because as he looks at that of All Might, within saying, I have my reasons. All I will say this, I became a hero just to protect people. Nothing more, nothing less that you deserve to know, brat. Within, Hawks can help but smirk, looking at that of the man that he sees as his idol and his one true hero. Within, Izuku saying, well then, what if you didn't have that potential? What if you actually blame that of the very world you live on? The very HPSC or the very hero society you pretty much serve or continue to perpetuate. You would definitely turn villain as a way to spite the world for what they've done to you, right? Within, hearing that, Endeavor saying, why you? Well, that's exactly what the Brighter Blick does. It can bring out a version of anybody connected to that of the Fire Emblem from other worlds and realities. It doesn't matter if they're good, bad, or even in between. Even if their mindset or even their morals change. It doesn't matter. They're still the same person, just different because of the timeline change. With hearing that, Best Genius couldn't help but say, my word, if that's the case, then even the people we thought were basically older siblings or possibly even younger siblings of one person out there, then within looking back at every single member of the Order of Heroes, like that of Ike, Robin, and Lynn, as they weren't just basically younger or older version of siblings, but actual different versions of them, other realities entirely. With that, Edjot saying, my word, if a very other universes have alternate realities, other versions of them, old, young, or even changes of their personality, then that means Alphonse spoke up saying, anybody can have that of a person, can have that of their own doppelganger, another version of them from a different timeline. Doesn't matter if it's from the past, present, future, or even from an alternate reality where we made different choices, different decisions that led to several outcomes that either that favored us or didn't at the same time. It doesn't matter. The Brighter Blick will always bring you to the Order of Heroes. Over to Izuku, looking at his friend with Izuku nodding at the same time. Within, Mirako saying, that's all great and all, but that doesn't explain on how a quirkless kid like this is now in charge of a huge-ass organization like this. Within, hearing that, soon, without warning, a massive snakehead, glowing pink, began to basically lunge at that of Mirako, with Mirako rightfully dodging out of the way due to that of her instincts. If it wasn't for that of her rabbit instincts saying that a predator was around, she definitely would have been both smashed to the ground and devoured. Within, seeing that, Nidhugger still sitting down with that of her her left arm basically extended out, turned into that of a snake. Within, the snake basically glares at that of Mirko, with even Nidhogger doing the same, saying, "Call that of my darling Deku like that again, and I'll basically devour you. You got it, little bunny." And she can't help but basically lick her lips at the same time, showing that of her sharp canine fangs. With all the other heroes currently on alert, ready for a fight, within, soon, Izuku saying, "Nidhogger, stand down." Within, she's saying, "But Izu," saying, "I said, stand down. This isn't the time for that right now." Within, hearing this from her beloved husband, the snake begins to retract itself right back to her as her left hand goes back to normal. Within, she basically huffing. But soon, Izuku can help but sigh, saying, "Apologies. It's just that word is very not liked around here. That's all, Mirko. Apologies." Within, Mirko saying, yeah, whatever. Just keep the girl on check before I basically kick her head off. And I'll have you know this bunny can bite back too." Within, looking back at Nidhogger. Within, Nidhogger basically smiles back, saying, "I wish you try." With saying, "Enough." For then, soon saying, "To answer your question, Miss Mirko, how this quirkless kid is the second command of this order of heroes from other realities and worlds. It's simple. I earned it." As everybody feeling a little bit on edge now with the tension, before Izuku takes a deep breath and explains on how he came into that of this reality. Right after being summoned by that of Anna, taking on a few of monsters. Back then, he was a weak, scared, timid, and basically somewhat broken as well boy, before being brought to that of Sheena and Alphonse as well. They welcomed him with open arms. Even without the brighter blick, they still would have welcomed him in the Order of Heroes. Back then, Izuku basically was broken. A kid who had nothing else to live for. All because of All Might's words. The words saying that without a quirk, he could never be a hero. Sure, that the final nail in the coffin for the kid who basically had nothing else to live for in this world. He had nothing else to live for, nothing else to continue to fight, to exist. Sure, there was his mother. She was always there for him, but however, he always knew that he was a strong sense of stress and pain. He knew that he was nothing but a burden on her. So of course, to find complete and total strangers welcoming him with kindness and open arms, it just felt weird. It felt wrong, but also, at the same time, he can't help but felt a little bit greedy as well. It was also around this time that, the Order of Heroes and the Kingdom of Asker was being invaded by their neighbors of Emblem, led by that of the Crown Princess of Emblem, Veronica. Originally, the two kingdoms were always on, good sides with each other, where that of the Kingdom of Asker is known for basically opening portals to other worlds to help and develop that of, realities that need that of guidance. While Emblem is known for closing those portals to make sure that nothing bad basically goes through or in and out of their self-respected worlds. Unfortunately, that treaty between the two kingdoms broke when that of Emblem decided to keep the portals open, to conquer them, and then basically segregate that of the people to work under that of the Kingdom of Emblem, using people from other worlds to serve them. Unlike that of the Brighter Blake and Asker, that basically want to connect and help people by opening worlds to other realities, Emblem wants to subjugate them. But the reason why is complicated. and also ridiculous at the same time. Princess Veronica is not the true, biological daughter of the Emperor of Emblem, but is actually a bastard child. But the only reason that she took the throne is because no other person in Emblem who bears the blood of that of the Emperor is able to take the throne. She's the only one. And due to her feeling constantly alone and jealous of Asker's prosperity while her people suffer, she can't help but take that anger and envy out on that of their neighbors. The only person that always brought her joy was that of her big brother Bruno, who goes by the name Zacharias, a former member of the Order of Heroes and Alphino and Sheena's best friend growing up. He was also the original heir and was soon to take the throne of Emblem, but finding out the secret of that of his family and his country, that they had a drive, that they were cursed to basically want to destroy and conquer and ruin Asker, which we soon would find out later on. Not to mention, later on, we would also find other things too, such as certain people manipulating things in the scenes. Like our next war, like with the war between Emblem and Asker, basically placed on hold, mainly because Veronica was being manipulated by somebody else at the time to work with that of the kingdom of Moosevelt, actually, and its king, who basically drove to take down another neighboring kingdom who also had his sights on Asker. This king, the Mad King of Flames, Surtur. Within hearing that name, leaving that of both, Ligyorn and Gonthra basically looking down, as of course this is how they were involved and became part of the Order of Heroes. As Izuku explained that this war that they had to face against that of the Misvelt royal family, with also aid from that of Emblem as well, due to us allying with that of the neighboring kingdoms of Nifl, they were able to push back that of the Mad King, but realized that the king is able to revive himself from the brink of death because of the ritual of flames. But due to infighting between his royal family, such as his two daughters, the two princesses of Moosevelt, Levitane and Ligyorn, within hearing that name, as the heroes see that of the tan-skinned, green-haired young lady, as they know that her name is also Ligyorn. So they figured within, she nods, just allowing Izuku to continue on, alongside that of one of his own personal soldiers, aiding us alongside that of our allies. We were able to put him down. But we also found out more other things that, once again, this was just a plot for somebody else. Not long after, we only had that of a month to prepare, we were forced into another war. The ruler of the realm of the dead, otherwise known as Hell, she basically also planned to invade that of Asker. But she wasn't allied with that of Emblem, though. She resurrected so many dead people from other countries to bring them to that of Asker as her army. Not only that, even her own daughter, Princess Air, she forced her to basically serve in that of the Order of Heroes. As the heroes were actually kind of shocked by this, with Gang Orca saying, why would she force her own daughter to work with you? Unless, within, Vashina saying she was a spy. With then Alphonse saying, yes, she was. Before any of the heroes could speak up, that's when Sheena saying, but she betrayed her mother at the very end. She became loyal and became part of the Order of the Heroes willingly. Not to mention, she's become something even more than what her mother originally wanted for her after all. As Sheena speaking up and defending that of her friend, but Izuku couldn't help but smile at that of his best friend for doing so as well, saying, while she was basically ordered to betray us, just as Sheena said, she betrayed her mother instead to side with us she became an integral and well-respected ally and friend. However, the Army of the Dead basically finally confirmed something that I always knew about the Brighter Blick, as looking at his weapon again, saying that it has the power to bring in people from alternate realities. For example, one of the main generals of Hell's army was a man by the name of Leaf, a scary, powerful, and basically twisted swordsman, but also my best friend. Then, everybody hearing that, Miro saying, "Wait, your best friend? You've met him before?" Soon, Edelgard spoke up saying, "What our summoner means by best friend, he means the one person that he saw as his best friend, that being my husband, Alphonse." Everybody looked at that of the Crown Prince, was saying, "I knew too. I knew by his eyes and how he acted, especially when he came in contact with that of my sister Sheena. I knew it from the very start that he was me, an other version of me from another world, a world where Izuku went missing and never came back, where Sheena died and Asker basically turned into a wasteland, leaving me all alone, my home gone, my family destroyed, the order I spent leading gone too. All of it crumbled before me, before Hell took advantage of me and made me her puppet and turned me into Leaf. That version of me, even to this day, is one of my most formidable opponents." As Hawks finally spoke up saying, "That's kind of terrifying in a way. How the hell did you able to defeat her?" Izuku saying, "Simple. We had help from that of the Dragon of Life, Ymir. She gave us the power to basically nullify that of Hell's ability to resurrect and basically come back from the dead, just like that of Surtur, using the Brighter Blick to put an end to the ruler of the realm of the dead. Thankfully enough, it didn't cause any problems to the realm of the dead, thanks to that of Air taking over, ruling over the land, while also still doing her duties as a member of the Order of Heroes as well," with everybody kind of shocked and a little bit terrified now, knowing that they've taken on basically a god-level threat now. And it doesn't stop there, as Izuku begins to basically speed run everything he explains now, and still going into that quite a bit of detail. Like right after that of the war with Hell, they basically, head to that of the two dream realms, Losajafemur and Dakofemur, as the two realms of the sleep, one of dreams and one of nightmares. However, this was basically a ploy not to take over Asker, but for a ploy to capture Izuku. Because of him being the summoner of the Order of Heroes and second in command, Dimerfemur wanted to control him and have him to be part of that of their kingdom. The king of dreams, Fanir, believed that having him under them would basically send them to a land of prosperity. But in the process of defending himself, Izuku imagined himself as Alphonse to defend himself, so he wouldn't succumb so soon to that of the controls of them trying to take over his mind through his dreams. But he would have probably became All Might early on, but since he saw All Might as a strong, capable, and powerful hero, but when he's been around that of Alphonse, his best friend, the one who led him, gave him hope, and gave him a place to belong, he couldn't help but think about the man that he saw as his symbol of courage. Luckily, he was able to get out of the dream, which soon after, they had a good year before everything went to shit again. Asker was soon invaded again by that of the kingdom of Nidavellir and its princess, who didn't even believe she was a princess at the time, Princess Reagan, who was being manipulated by the people that she saw as her brothers. Not to mention, turns out another kingdom also sided with that of the usurper king Fenrir, Jormungandr, which one of the princesses of the kingdom decided to side with them due to her falling in love with that of the false prince, Yorn, who was just using her at the time. Not to mention, Izuku was captured by that of the forces too, and was also experimented on by a witch by the name of Eitri, actually, who nearly psychologically broken and basically crippled Izuku with that of words saying that he is a manipulator, controls and twists that of the people that he summons to bend to his will, which nearly almost broke him until the others saved him in the nick of time. Not to mention, she was also the one who turned that of Fenrir into a crazed mechanical dragon that nearly destroyed that of Jormungandr. But luckily, they were able to defeat him in a nick of time before he went on an absolute bloody rampage. A few months after that of the last war, another war brewed between that of Emblem and Asker once again. As turns out, this would be the final battle between the two kingdoms. It even led to that of the two kingdoms' gods finally stepping in, Emblem herself and Asker himself as well, even as the retainers, which was acting as that of, emissaries to gain that of forces to prepare for the final battle between the two. Not to mention, we also found out about the curse that Bruno talked about that led to him wanting to destroy, alongside that of Veronica, to destroy Asker. Turns out it was Embla's curse, her hatred, and basically bona fide loathing for anyone of Asker, and especially for those who bear the blood of the god Asker as well, that mainly being the entire Asker royal family. And due to this, it led to the final war between the two, even to the point that once they defeated Asker, Veronica took her duties as the new Empress of Emblem seriously, due to her and that of her the goddess that she serves, being the same, that they both were basically alone and heading down to the same path of loneliness, pain, and suffering, and the cycle repeating itself over and over again. And thus, Emblem is allies with that of Asker. The next one was a few years later, as one of the gods of the realm of light, Seer, basically came to Izuku and tell him about that of the destruction of their realm, which is known as Midgard, by the god Seer, Golvi, as originally Izuku wanted to negotiate and even speak with the other heroes about this. However, the god who contacted him, Cedar, who over time Izuku began to be fond of and see as a great friend, as they went on their own personal journey together. But even so, Izuku ended up telling the Order of Heroes and Alphonse and the others, sooner than later, about the imminent threat. And luckily, they were able to, prevent it from happening. They couldn't defeat that of the Golden Seer, but they were able to at least delay it for at least another good few hundred years. However, later on, as time went on, we found out that the Golden Seer was basically being dragged and was lured to that of Midgard, to that of the kingdom of Asker at the time, because somebody else has been trying to break the peace between that of Asker and Emblem, that being the divine beast of Yggdrasil, led by that of the healing hands as their leader, and Father Lauder did not wish for this, with Nidhogger feeling quite uncomfortable as she says to herself, this would be some good time for some booze right now. Feeling somebody's hand as it being from Holder saying, please do not feel sad, Sister Nidhogger. We are here for you. With Van saying, thanks, Hody. As Izuku explains this event as the divine beast led by that of Larner had wanted to manipulate and basically break up the peace that Emblem and Asker basically worked and suffered to achieve between the two, mainly out of jealousy, despair, and distrust for humans, due to his own experiences with human greed. Not to mention, he did it out of fear because of his losing his family to that of human greed and suffering. However, we learned the truth that the real Longender basically died years ago from his kids, especially his eldest son, who basically said he died from despair, from the fact of causing so much pain, misery, and distrust for humans, that he created a clone for himself, that none of his children would know the truth, except one of them did, though. With that, it led to a quite overwhelming. Even to this day, they still try to make contact and build bridges between those of with the divine beast of Yggdrasil, so they won't feel like they have been betrayed or used again. But even so, with even one of them being part of the Order of the Heroes, with seeing Nidhogger basically looking over to the side, trying not to draw attention to herself. And this, and now, leads to that of the current events, what almost led to us basically about to enter another war. A few years later, Loki finally made her move after manipulating so many people. With then hearing that name, with the hero saying, Loki? Wait, are you saying the same Loki that told us? Within, everybody in the room couldn't help but feel a lot tense now. Within, Izuku saying, Loki is a sore spot for that of the Order of Heroes, everyone. I would probably ask the best if you don't say that name out loud, or at least not around us or any other member of the Order. Within, Izuku taking a deep breath saying, Loki was actually a god from a land known as Asgard. Which then Holder spoke up saying, which is exactly where I'm from. With everybody looking at her saying, I am the Dust Shadow God of Order, Holder. I've been part of the Order of Heroes since the day that my love basically became part of the Order, actually. He summoned me early on when he used the Brighter Blick. By that time, I was still loyal to that of His Majesty, the King of Asgard, Odin. Within, Izuku saying, Holder, are you sure you want to? With her shaking her head saying, no, my lord husband, this is your explanation. And besides, it's not really much to talk about, right? Within, hearing this, Izuku saying, yeah, I guess so. Saying, we were already planning on facing against that of Asgard. Currently, one of theirs, known as Rune, is currently under our custody. He's not an enemy, but turns out he's a refugee that ran from that of Asgard and tried to warn us about the God King's plan to wipe out all mortals to bring them justice for their crimes against the gods. Just within the celestial realm, with one of the sun god of justice, Baldur, was the one to bring justice down upon us. But before we could begin the battle, that was when everything changed. As Soon begins to explain how the battle went. As soon as the Order of Heroes, alongside Izuku, Alphen, Sheena, Anna, and everyone else was ready, soon a bright light basically consumed everybody and everyone, even Baldur as well. And soon after, they arrived back at that of the Order of Heroes, back within that of Asker. And soon after, they found themselves not in that of the realm of Midgard any longer, and the kingdom of Asker somewhere else, with Izuku aware on where they're at. As for the past couple of weeks, while the heroes were preparing, so was the Order of Heroes, coming back and forth between that of Asker and Japan. When Izuku realized that he was back home, back into that of the land that he was born in, the world he was born in. And not just that, for he's been with the Order and Asker for 5 years. He was basically making him 20, but now he's reverted back to that of back to 15 years old, which makes sense since he's been gone for that of 10 months in this world. It only makes sense that he revert back to the age that he originally would be in this world after such a long time. Within, all the heroes hearing this saying, wait, you're saying that you, within, as soon, Altine is saying, we've been preparing and scouting just as much as the rest of you. You know how fast the Pegasus, alongside that of many other mounts like wyverns, can move across the sea quite quickly if strong and raised right. With Ike commenting saying, we didn't plan for any wars or battles, but after everything that our summer went through in this world, we couldn't help but basically be prepared for what's to come. And given that, you all made a spectacle about that of seeing new landmass right beside that of your own country, it was hard not to basically gather information quite easily. Within Robin commenting as saying, as a tactician, we must strategize and prepare for anything to happen. We already knew on the kind of heroes that we had to prepare for, and we were ready for all of you, even you, All Might. Within, everybody looking at that as the number one hero, but Robin saying, don't get us wrong, we have no animosity or true hatred towards any of you. But Izuku, our summoner, our second in command of our order, has been through enough, and we didn't want to put him through any more suffering and pain than necessary. Especially when you all found out that he was here all this time, or even if you even cared about him to begin with, given how you all discriminate against the quirkless. Within, hearing all that, everybody couldn't help but feel nervous. Even Mirako couldn't help but feel a little bit guilty, especially after what she said about Izuku being quirkless too. Knowing how much that they quirkless people have it rough after all. Hell, being a mutant quirk user like her, who only has that of bunny ears and certain features, basically has it rough before she has to prove herself. But the quirkless, they don't even get a chance to prove for themselves. And of course, she had to be quite damn insensitive about it. With Izuku soon turning his back to everybody else, looking back at his wives, saying, now you all know the truth of this world where I've been and about the land you stand upon. We don't want any trouble, but if you bring the trouble, expect us to fight back, no matter what. Within, hearing that, Hawk saying, on behalf of the Hero Public Safety Commission and the Japanese government, I think we need time to bring this back to that of our people. You don't mind if we stay the night before heading back to our boat, right? We all need to make a consensus about this and prepare to what we need to tell our higher-ups. Within, Izuku looking back at that of Alphonse, with Alphonse saying, do what you need to do. However, I will tag alongside that of my sister, Sheena, with Anne, within, looking back, saying, Izuku, it's up to you if you wish to go back. Within, soon, Izuku looking back at his blue-haired best friend, as he can't help but have that of a smile, saying, I'm your right-hand man. It's my duty to look after that of the Order of the Heroes after all. And besides, wherever you go, I follow. You know I always have your back as your tactician, as your strategist and tactician, right? Within, hearing that, Alphina saying, well, that settles it. We'll basically come back with you on that of your ship. Hope you don't mind making some room for us, after all. Within, All Might trying to have that of his always positive smile, saying, not at all, young, or should I say, your highness, Alphonse. Within saying, none of that, just call me Alphonse, that's all. Within saying, well, Well, we need to prepare after all and get ready to speak on behalf of the kingdom of Asker. Within, soon Sheena's saying, I'll go in contact with that of Mother and say that we'll be leaving again. Within, Anna's going, hey, you don't mind if I actually bring some people with us? As bodyguards after all, I think we're going to need them. Within, Izuku saying, that makes a lot more sense actually. I ain't trust you to bring those who we know we can trust to have our back. Within, Anna saying, don't worry, I got this. I'll bring in of the best to basically work as bodyguards. Within, Izuku wanting to make sure that she does her job right, saying, I'll double your pay if you make sure to get the best. Within saying, deal! As Anna is already blitzing right through that of the hall doors, with everybody completely shocked. Within, Gengorga saying, I didn't think she had super speed or a super speed quirk. Within, soon Edelgard spoke up saying, nope, that's just Anna in a nutshell. Or any Anna in a nutshell, actually. That's just who she is. Or they are, to be honest. Leaving all the heroes confused on what Edelgard meant by that. Within, Alphino saying, with this meeting now taken care of, let us take you back to that of your quarters. I'll make sure to bring that of guides back to you as well. Within, soon, Izuku saying, I'll be heading back to my chambers too. Need to get ready. Within, all of his wives follow after him as they stay close to him too. Within, the rest of the pros look at Izuku as they could feel the tension coming from the boy, realizing that he definitely does not want to go back home. With now everything settled and done and explained about the situation of the land of the kingdom of Asker and why is it here in this world, and how Izuku Midoriya went from a boy basically nobody thought much of, that nobody cared that much about, or people didn't see as worth anything, became that of a hero among heroes, and found his place among all of them. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. And so, what do you guys think? I honestly had to speed run through all of this. And yes, you guys can tell that I basically skipped out on that of the current book being book 10. Let's be honest, I have not gone through that. And I think I'm just going to wait until it basically completes itself to do it anyway. Because that's how I've always done with that of Fire Emblem Heroes. I always take a break, come back, get new characters, stuff like that, to be honest. That's just how it is. Also, expect action in the next chapter. You guys finally get what you've always wanted. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to get date videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my main channel, my other channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care.